Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Sage Gaming. Due to Starfield releasing very soon, I wanted to do a little series, starting with Skyrim, where I talk about some of my favorite things about previous BGS games to get the hype flowing for Starfield. I will be breaking down some of my favorite followers, stories, playstyles, and more. In the meantime, sit down, drink some mead, and enjoy the video. Starting off with character creation, I have created so many characters of every race in Skyrim, but none can match my love for the Khajiits. These feline warriors are originally from a province in Tamriel known as Elsewhere, and they are incredibly talented at sneaking, using a bow, one-handed weapons, and they also have an increased base damage for melee attacks due to their claws, which can make your gameplay interesting if you decide to do an unarmed playthrough. But for myself personally, I love creating a playstyle where I use a sword and shield while also sneaking around with a bow and arrow for stealth gameplay. I know, basic. But let's be honest, you'll start your character with a specific build in mind, but you'll always end up in the sweet embrace of the bow and arrow stealth build. I also like to use light armor because I just love the light armor designs in Skyrim. Some of my favorites are the studded armor when I'm starting out, the glass armor, Stalrim armor, nightingale armor, and of course, the dragon scale armor being my favorite. But I don't want to take away from the fact that the heavy armor designs are great as well. The Daedric, Ebony, and Dwarven armors are incredible and beautiful. I'm also a sucker when it comes to enchanting and alchemy. I go out of my way every time to disenchant every item, whether I'll use that enchantment or not, and collect any ingredients that I find while exploring Skyrim's vast, open world. Using enchantments and a mix of alchemy can also do wonders for your smithing, if you equip the correct enchanted items and drink the correct smithing potions to create a better output for your equipment, which is something I try to build towards to give my character more of an edge during combat. Like my Khajiit warrior, I also like taking a feline companion to help explore the cold, mountainous terrain of Skyrim. Karjo is a guard for a Khajiit caravan that travels the roads of Skyrim to sell goods outside of many cities, due to the fact that they're not allowed within city walls, because Khajiits are known for their sticky fingers and possible issues with violence. But honestly, I think they're just misunderstood. Not that I have any particular bias in the matter, but Karjo is a great warrior companion to have with you, because he will wield any weapon you give him, assuming the equipment you give him is better than his base items, of course. I will also create his own set of heavy armor and a one-handed weapon with a shield to keep his damage and defense numbers scaled with me as we progress through the game together. In order to recruit Karjo to your aid, you will need to talk to him, and he will mention bandits had stolen his moon amulet. One of them stole my moon amulet, given to me by my mother when I was just a cub. It is my only memory of home in this cold land, states Karjo when you ask him about the moon amulet. After that, you will receive a quest to retrieve his stolen amulet and bring it back to him. The only downside of this amulet is it will randomly be placed in any dungeon or cave throughout Skyrim, and even Solstheim. And yes, I have ventured to Solstheim to collect Karjo's moon amulet for him, just to have him as a follower. And one other downside to Karjo is that his character caps at level 30, meaning he no longer scales his stats to yours and the enemies of Skyrim as you level up after level 30. That means nothing, because Karjo is a faithful companion, and in his wise words, may your road lead you to warm sands. Moving on to some of my favorite mechanics in Skyrim would have to be the crime, jail system, and diseases. I think that the inclusion of a jail system is a must-need for any open-world fantasy RPG, and Skyrim does a great job. If you commit a crime within a city or nearby areas within that hold, it only counts within that hold where you committed that crime. For example, if you attack someone in Riverwood, your bounty would be added to the Whiterun hold. So, you can be a wanted fugitive in a certain hold, like the Whiterun hold, but be perfectly fine in another. And if you wanted to get real crazy, you can have a bounty in every hold, but you would also have options to get rid of that bounty. You can pay it off, or you can go to jail. Doing so will decline the progress of your skills in the process. Talking about diseases, the inclusion of diseases is very annoying in the moment, but it's a great mechanic in retrospect. It adds a certain feel of realism to it by forcing you to keep disease cure potions in your inventory, crafting or buying, or by visiting any shrine to cure all diseases. Also, If you're not careful and you keep vampirism too long, you run the risk of turning into a vampire, which can either be a good thing or bad, depending on the level of your vampirism, sunlight, etc. Either way, the inclusion of diseases is one of my favorite mechanics in this game, and I hope Starfield really adds something regarding diseases or affected afflictions to really keep you on your toes while you play. The last point of this video, I would like to mention my favorite story in Skyrim, the Dragonborn DLC. I loved everything about this DLC expansion because it provided a new island to explore while also adding to the nostalgia of Morrowind and bringing back some of its original soundtrack. Listening to the Morrowind original soundtrack while playing Skyrim hit all kinds of nostalgia vibes, and Bethesda really nailed it. Also, the little village and the town of Ravenrock in Solstheim were so well made, and not to mention Miraak. I loved his build-up by having to read the black books to progress through the story to confront him. The way that he would steal your dragon's souls after you'd slay them, and his dialogue he'd have with your character made it feel so personal, and it motivated you to deal with him, since you needed dragons to upgrade your shouts, of course. The return of enemies that are exclusive to Morrowind and the Easter eggs alongside that were a nice addition to the expansion, and there was so much content to go through. The aesthetics of the interiors for the buildings were great and a breath of fresh air to what was in Skyrim's main lands. A few quests that I thoroughly enjoyed, apart from the main quest, would have to be Served Cold, Telvanni Research, and the Chief of Thirst Call. Served Cold was a great quest that dabbled in a bit of politics, surrounded by the conspiracy that the Yulin family are attempting to assassinate Councillor Morvain. Under further investigation, it is actually an assassination attempt culminated from the Severin family. Once you complete the quest, you are then awarded a very nice house within the city of Ravenrock. The Telvanni Research quest involved you and a returning character from Morrowind named Naloth. In this quest, Naloth helps you retrieve a black book to help you in your quest to defeat Miraak. Finally, the Chief of Thirst Call. This quest was so cool because you could actually help Reiklings attack a group of Nords that have been troubling the tribe of Reiklings. After doing so, you can have one of the Reiklings of the tribe follow you on your adventures. And if you so desire, you can also have the Nords attack the Reiklings and have that side of the quest complete with the Nords. Finally, I'd like to talk about my final thoughts on Skyrim as a whole. Skyrim is a game that I've played on and off ever since its release way back on November 11th, 2011. At this time, I had already played The Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion, and Fallout 3. So, I was familiar with BGS and what they were capable of when creating their worlds. When I first played it, I was absolutely blown away. For the time, I thought the graphics were amazing, and the gameplay had improved comparing it to its previous installment. Although I did like the main story better in Oblivion, I still enjoyed the main story in Skyrim, and I thought the implementation of dragons was one of the best things they could have added to Skyrim because it really amped up that feeling of a fantasy RPG. But other than the story, I still feel like this is Bethesda's strongest title to date, since I can still find myself getting lost in Skyrim for countless hours on the vanilla version. Not to mention the vast amount of mods that can change your playthrough, gameplay, graphics, UI, followers, and anything else you would want to change. For my final verdict on Skyrim, I can say without hesitation that it is my favorite BGS game by a mile. I love everything about this game, and when I'm asked what my favorite game is, this game comes to mind immediately. If BGS can grasp the same magic they captured from Skyrim and apply it to Starfield while also making it its own thing, Starfield will be just as amazing as Skyrim. Originally, I thought about doing a video game essay about Skyrim. After realizing how many video game essays there are on Skyrim, I decided to just make a video focusing on my personal thoughts and opinions. I may do more of these types of videos for Oblivion, Fallout 3, and Fallout 4 before the release of Starfield, depending on how much time I have, as well as if these videos do good at all. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content. I have also added my Sage Gaming Twitter account in the description down below. If you wouldn't mind, give it a follow. I plan to start being a little bit more active on it really soon. Finally, let me know what your favorite build, characters, and stories are in Skyrim in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.